Hello, everybody. What is up? My name is Emma Butler. I am an Ontario beef farmer. Thank you so much for joining us today and coming along on this journey with us to celebrate Canada's Agriculture Day today. I'm so excited to be here with you. I'm going to take you on a tour of our beef farm. Now, we did pre-record this video just 3 days ago when it was crispy and -12 outside. And in true Ontario weather fashion, it is pouring rain today. So I'm very glad to be able to join you from inside today where it's cozy and comfy. We're going to go ahead and play the tour for you. You can think of your questions as we go along because I'm going to stick around after and answer them live here for you. So enjoy a tour of our beef farm. My name is Emma Butler, but you can call me Farmer Emma. Welcome to the farm. Today, I'm going to give you a tour of a beef farm in the wintertime here in Croton, Ontario, Canada, to celebrate Canada Egg Day. Okay, so before we head out to the farm, we have to dress up in our winter gear because it's cold outside. So we're gonna suit up. Okay, one last thing before we go outside. We have to put on our hat and our mittens. Okay, so now that we're all geared up, let's head on out to the farm. So this is our bullpen. These guys are awesome. They are here to produce more calves. So a bull is an intact male and they are here to work and to breed the cows. Let's hop in the gator and go to another barn. So my favorite part about living on a farm is being able to be outside and interact with our animals. So here we are at one of our other barns. This is a barn that houses our cows and baby calves. Come on, I'll introduce you. So this is Ginger. She is one of our cows. She was actually born here on the farm as well 2 years ago, and now she's here with her own babies. A cow is a mother who stays here to produce other animals, and a calf is what you call a baby. A boy calf that is intact is called a bull calf. A boy calf that has been castrated is called a steer. And a girl calf is called a heifer. Hello, Ginger. Come on in. So what do cows eat? That's a really great question. Here on our farm, our cows eat everything that we grow here ourselves. So they eat hay, corn, silage, and they also actually eat some byproducts. So they eat some barley from the baking of beer, and they also eat some distillers, which are from making ethanol. One of my favorite things about being a farmer is being able to spend time outdoors with all of our animals and to serve our community. And if you can't tell, my favorite animal on the farm is the cows.
My husband, Farmer Josh, is on his way over to get some straw to bed the cows. In the wintertime, it's important that we keep them well bedded and comfy and warm. We'll go catch up with Farmer Josh. Let's go. One thing on our farm that makes us really unique is we have our own store right here on the farm. Come on, check it out. Come on in, I'll show you around. So first and foremost about being a farmer, we also feed the world. Here in our farm store, we only sell products that we raise here ourselves on our farm. So it goes right from our farm home to your table. My favorite part about Canadian Agriculture Day is being able to share our story with you and connect you with your food. Okay guys, that's it for the beef farm tour in the wintertime here from Croton, Ontario. My name is Farmer Emma. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you want to connect with me even more, you can always visit our website with your mom and dad's permission, of course, jnemeats.com. We always post lots of stuff for kids over there, free stuff to entertain you and things to do with your family. If you want to come see us in the farm store, you're welcome to come anytime. We are open on Fridays and Saturdays, and you can always check our website out for more details. I will see you next time. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Thank you so much for joining us. I hope that you enjoyed that video of a little tour around our farm. That video was so much fun to make. I was having a blast making it and rewatching it with you. So if you have any questions for me, I would be happy to answer them. What is the trickiest thing about farming in the wintertime? There is a whole host of things that makes farming in the wintertime tricky. It's a 365 day a year job. So we're always kind of facing weather extremities in the wintertime. We're facing blowing snow, freezing water tanks, keeping our animals dry and safe. And then in the summertime, we sort of face the opposites. Sometimes we get torrential downpours, sometimes we get blistering heat. So there really isn't just one factor that sort of makes it tricky. There's always the elements that we are battling. How many people work on your farm? That's a really good question. I always joke that I'm the number one employee here on our farm. My husband and I are third generation farmers. He was actually born and raised on this farm, and so was his father right here in this very house. So on our farm, it's myself, my husband, my father-in-law, and my mother-in-law that all work here full time. What's your favorite part about farming? I love everything about agriculture. It's such a diverse profession to be in. It brings me so many opportunities to be able to share our farm to table journey and our story, and to make new connections, to have opportunities just like this one, to be able to connect and build relationships. I also really like the entrepreneurial side, learning more about business, and then also being able to manage our own schedules. And I love to be able to work alongside my family and my children. Yes, we grow all of our own crops here on our farm for our animals. So we grow sort of like the big three: corn, wheat, and soybeans. Some of those we do export as well. The corn majority is used for feed, so we take our own silage, as well as we harvest the corn as well too to put into the feed. We also grow hay, and then we also grow cover crops as well too. So we do peas and oats mix. We've grown sorghum. We grow rye. All of those are used for animal feed as well too. And then we do also do rotational grazing on our cover crops as well. How many cattle are on our farm? Josh would be able to give you probably a more accurate count of that. So on our farm, we have complete traceability. So we use the RFID tagging system to be able to keep track of all of our animals on our farm. So I'm sure that we could populate a number from that. Just to make things a little bit more narrow, one aspect of our farming operation is we have a cow calf operation. So to put that a little bit more into perspective for you, we have around 140 cow calf pairs. And then we have 4 bulls, which you got to see some of them there in that video as well too. And we do all natural breeding. And we also calve 3 times a year just to be able to spread out the workload for us as well too. And this way we have available product year round as well too. Do you have Yes. So we this video was focused more so on our beef operation, but we actually are sheep farmers as well too. So my husband and I, we have a sheep flock where we breed our own ewes, again using the natural breeding techniques as well. This way we can produce lamb to sell in our farm store direct to consumers. So we do beef, we do lamb. We also raise chicken on the artisanal program. And then we have a flock of laying hens too to be able to provide farm fresh eggs to our customers as well. Oh, we chose to open up a store on our farm because for myself, I really wanted to define a role here on our farm. I do help out in the fields full time as well too, but I really kind of wanted something that was going to be unique and help me contribute to the farm, but also be a stay-at-home mom, be able to work here full time. So our farm store just sort of happened organically. It was a way for us to connect to our customers directly as producers. Typically, what would happen on other farms, and then us part of our farm as well too, is we would produce the animals and then ship them, and then there was no real connection with the customer. So for us, starting our farm store was a way for us to really get to know our community directly, get to know our customers, and vice versa, allow our customers to be able to see and know the farmers behind their products as well. Did I always want to be a farmer? I've been a farmer since I was born myself. I was born and raised on a beef farm. So it's really funny that, fate kind of has other ideas. When I met my husband, we actually met at our John Deere dealership. So we met, we kind of hit it off right away. And then when I found out he was a beef farmer as well too, it was just kind of one of those, it's got to be fate moments. So farming, agriculture has always been a big part of my story. My husband, he was born and raised on this farm as well too, and so he's worked here his entire life. After college, after he graduated, he came back and he decided to stay here on the farm, and here we are. Ooh, that's a really great question. I love that. I love that you're interested in starting a small beef farm. My first and foremost recommendation would to be do your research, start branching out, start connecting with other producers, large and small. I think one really unique thing about being an agriculture or a livestock producer, rather, is we all have different experiences. Every single farm is completely unique. What we do on our farm might be completely different from what another producer does on their farm. So I think doing your research, building those connections, building those relationships is always a really good place to start, just to really get your footing. Another place that I would start as well too is to start building relationships that are going to help your farm and your operation. So you might start with 3 cattle, which is great, but those are going to need a vet, or they're going to need, you might need a feed nutritionist to do some consultations for you to help you build feed rations or know which type of feed to purchase, etc. So building those connections, introducing yourself, just kind of making your intentions known to your team from the get-go will help you long term rather, be successful in the industry, because you're going to learn everything as you go. That there's no real book for farming. So you're going to learn as you go, but having that team to help support you. For us, we work really closely with our veterinarian, our animal nutritionist, our seed companies. All those kind of members are part of our team that help us to navigate farming and agriculture. So starting with some solid research and building some connections will always, always help you in the end. Ooh, options for finishing beef. I love that. So on our farm here, we are grass-fed, grain-finished. So our animals are processed at around 18 to 20 months in age, and they are supplemented with, as you saw in the video, I did talk about what we feed our animals. They are supplemented with a corn diet, and they also have grain as well too. They have some barley mixed in there as well. And then we do feed them the cover crops and the haylage as well, kind of in combination. We work really closely, as I mentioned, with our animal nutritionists, so they help to build the feed rations for us. The different methods of finishing beef, there's sort of two basic ones. One is grass-fed grain finish. That's what we do on our farm. Or there's grass-fed grass finished as well. Basically, what it comes down to difference-wise is flavor profiles of the actual meat itself. So in a grass-fed, grass-finished beef, you're going to find it's very lean, rich, and deep in beef texture. All of that has to do with the aging process as well too, how long it's dry aged, etc. But you're going to find that grass finish in general is more lean, less marbling, and definitely that richer beef flavor. And then with grass-fed grain finish, like what we do, you're going to find rich fat distributed throughout the meat because that comes from the grain as well too. You're going to find it's a little bit lighter in comparison. And again, dry aging process and processing level that kind of helps determine that as well too in terms of like tenderness and flavor. But that's sort of the two big ones: grass-fed, grass finish, and grass-fed grain finish. Yes, so we do actually be put our beef in other stores as well too. Now we don't do chain stores or grocery stores or anything like that. That's a completely different consumer, completely different target market altogether. For us and that beef that we produce and what we are able to produce on our farm too, because inventory management is always sort of number one. We work really closely with our abattoir as well too. We are actually very fortunate. We have a great abattoir here locally to us that we enjoy working with. So all those factors contributing, we are able to supply a few other local farm stores in our area too. So that's been a really great way for us to get our products out there, expand our business, but also be able to watch those other businesses grow too, and watch others that are doing something similar to us, selling direct to consumer, watch their businesses grow and flourish and be a part of that as well. Cows get cold in the winter. They don't seem to. They actually really thrive in cooler temperatures. So on those hot summer days, they're out there just belly out, sweating. I'm sure I can relate to that. But in the wintertime, cattle really thrive. It's really great for their lungs. Now, there is a difference too between that cold, driving, wet, gross wintertime and just a pretty crisp winter day, like the one that you saw in the video. That was a perfect winter day. The cows were outside on the pasture loving their life. So there's sort of that finite line between them. But in the wintertime, they don't get cold. They have really nice, thick hides that helps to keep them warm and insulated. Oh, beef farming in Canada is sustainable. So our story as Canadian producers is that we are ever changing our operation. We're growing, we're developing, both in our farm storage A&E meats, but then also in all the different levels of our operation. There's many different moving parts here, and our sustainability story kind of carries throughout those different channels in different ways. So we grow all of the crops here for our animals. So that's sort of one aspect of our sustainability story, being able to really hone our craft and be as environmentally friendly and as efficient as we can to produce the best quality feed for our animals. So there's that kind of aspect. There's the linear aspect of our business, our farm to table business model, where we raise all the animals here from birth. We don't buy in cattle from anywhere else. All of our animals are born and raised here ourselves. Part of that too is quality and traceability and every other part of that narrative that goes along with it. So I would say that our sustainability story is probably one of the biggest proponents to our beef farming journey here in Canada. And then also the other thing too is Canadian beef is really the best. Supporting local, supporting right here in your own communities. There are plenty of farmers just like myself out here that are just trying to feed the world. My favorite thing about Canadian agriculture is how cool and diverse it is. I am always meeting new people that have new stories to share, new information. I'm able to continually learn from others and hear their stories and hear about their journeys. And I find that so fascinating. So part of my biggest proponents and one of my biggest favorite parts about being involved in Canadian agriculture is being able to connect with other producers and other people in the industry, but then also being able to connect with our consumers and with our people and meet new people and share our story. Beef farming. Beef farming, even at my neighbors, would be different. As I have previously mentioned, every single farm is completely unique. So, our farm and what we do here in southwestern Ontario might be completely different from somebody else that's operating in northern Ontario or in another province. Beef farming across the board is very diverse. I mean, it's a simple we raise animals for production, for consumption type of a pattern, but it's also diverse when you get down to the nitty gritty, when you get down on each and every farm to hear their different methods and their different tactics of how they raise their animals and produce their products is different across the board.
What are you doing?
I'm on live, so smile. Are there standards that are common practice amongst beef farmers? Yes, absolutely. There are standards that are common practice amongst beef farmers. Across the board, we're all sort of trying to do our best to produce our very best products. Look, this is my husband, Josh.
Hi.
Hi. We did a beef farm tour, and then now we're answering questions.
Okay.
I thought that one was going to pop back up. I'm sorry. I started answering it, and then you got me all distracted.
It said what?
Oh, there we go. Can you answer that?
Oh yeah, for the most part, everybody kind of has the general same mentality of raising beef cattle. Keep them healthy, keep them clean. We really we want the most nutritional feed we can put into them. Throughout Ontario, I think is some of the best producers in the industry as far as finishing cattle. In the western kind of provinces, they do a really good job at producing the calves. So that's why you see a lot of kind of calves come from the west and coming into the eastern Ontario. So for the most part, it's just kind of keep them healthy, keep them dry, good clean bedding, good clean feed, clean water, everything like that. So
yeah, that's a great answer. That's a good one for you.
Yeah, we actually were looking at that recently. I don't know. For us, we have a really good thing going with the breeds that we have. The Wagyu is something you really have to be devoted at selling. It is kind of a luxury product, so it's I don't know. To me, we're really good at what we're doing, so we're just going to kind of keep it at that for now. Someday we might kind of venture into something like that, but for right now, we have really good luck with what we're doing. So
you got to go with what you know.
Yeah, and I mean it's their management thing, a little more management with them. Any purebred, you're going to have a higher kind of risk for certain things. So with our crossbred cows and our purebred bulls, we're kind of really that's our management for us. It really helps us that way. So
we should ask Josh more questions.
Right now it's the cost of everything is getting really high. So all the inputs, so any of our chemicals we use for weed control, the fertilizers we use, seed hasn't done a whole lot, but the main is just the cost of all the inputs it takes to grow the crops that we do, and as well as machinery cost is incredibly high. It's you can't hardly find any machinery. If you do find it, it's really expensive. So that's kind of the hardest thing right now, and land prices as well. They're pretty high. It's hard to get a hold of more ground. And we're kind of in the mentality, whereas we're not going to work for nothing, so it's got to make sense. So
what's a typical day like?
Well, for me, I start by I go to the lamb barn right now. We got a single lamb that we're bottle feeding, so we're not using our machine. So I'll feed that first thing in the morning. After that, I usually go for a drive with either the truck or the gator, and we'll go check the bunks. So we go see how much feed's left over from the day before. After we do that, we'll start to mix the feed for the cattle and the lambs or whatever. We'll feed them out, check all the barns, check all the waters. After that, it's kind of if you have some bedding to do, you go do that. If you don't, typically right now, this time of year, I go work in the shop on equipment. just getting it ready to go for spring or fixing anything that needs done. Any kind of jobs like that we'll typically do in the afternoons. At night times, say 5 o'clock or so, we have to go back through and we push up all the feed for all the animals. This kind of mimics them feeding twice a day. It gets everybody up and gets them going. It gets you to the barn. It lets you check the animals that much again. So that's kind of the typical day in this season. And the busier seasons, that obviously changes a lot depending on what season we're in, what we have to do. So
That's another good one for you. I did a lot of talking, so.
yeah, so obviously we have a planter. Typical grain farmer, you're gonna have a planter, a sprayer, possibly a drill that takes care of your crops. For us being a livestock farm, we have more, say, we have feed mixers. We have a grinder mixer which processes our corn to be able to feed the cattle and make it digestible. We have a forage harvester, bale wagons, balers, and it goes to the barn too. So we have handling facilities. So we have a squeeze chute, which the animal goes into. It restrains them if we have to check their tags or check their teeth or give them a vaccination, anything like that. It's a lot more equipment than what you say just a cash crop or a livestock farm would be on itself. But yeah, so there's probably too much to really mention here, but
I told them we met at a John Deere dealership
yeah.
too, so that makes sense. Awesome. Thank you for having us today. We are so excited. I'm so glad that Josh joined us. That was awesome. If you want to keep up with us too, you can always check us out on social media. We're at Janie Meats on Instagram and Facebook as well too.